Gamers, she is here, our pink-haired cutie patootie and our General Fu Xuan. It's okay, Jing Yuan, you sit back there with the Lightning Lord, he'll protect you a little bit longer. But yes, gamers, today we're going to be talking about one of the best sustained characters in Honkai Star Rail. Yes, Fu Xuan, and everything you need to build her. Talking about her skills, best relics, Lightcones, and everything in between, because she actually does have some issues if you don't build her correctly, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. But before we talk about her skills and how to build her, I just want to ask you guys to please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Our goal by the end of the month is to reach 4,000 subscribers. We'll be doing a little bit of a giveaway there, and also by the end of the year we're trying to hit 6K, so it would really help the channel out if you could subscribe to the channel. Let me stop plugging now and asking for you guys to do something. Let me give you guys something, and that's going to be the gift of this Fu Xuan build guide and what I think to be her best build is. But first, I do want to briefly go over her skills and kind of what she does, because a lot of how we're going to build her does rely on kind of what she does, right? Talking about her skill first, guys. Her skill is going to be lasting for 3 turns, and while this skill is active, it's going to be distributing 65% of the damage your allies take and give it to Fu Xuan instead. On top of this, all members are going to get a max HP buff based off of Fu Xuan's max HP and a crit rate buff as well. These all level up as you level up her skill. Of course, if she dies, then this goes down as well. We're not going to talk about the bonus effects right now. We'll talk about that in a second. Now, hopping into her ultimate is basically just going to attack all the enemies and also give her 1 extra trigger count to her talent, which is what we're talking about now. Bleak breeds bliss. Basically, what this talent does is whenever she reaches a certain HP threshold under 50%, she will be restoring her max HP. This is basically a full restore. It doesn't matter how low you are. Almost every single time, she took me from like 10% HP to 90% HP in one use of this ability, so really big heal there. And on top of this, allies are going to be taking 15% less damage, and that's just by Fu Xuan being on the field. And one more important thing I should note is her technique. Her technique is also really good because it, first of all, puts a barrier around you, and if you're a Papega like me and you get hit by tons of enemies because you're not paying attention, then this is really good. And on top of this, it's basically going to give you 1 free skill use when entering battle. You don't have to attack the enemy with her, you just have to hit her E ability and then you can attack with anyone else, and this still does activate. Now, hopping more in depth with her traces, her first bonus ability is going to be giving you extra energy when using your skill. So you want to be actively using her skill when she has 1 turn left in it. You don't want to let her run out because you're not going to be getting the extra 20 energy that way. Her ultimate cost is pretty high at 135 energy, so you want to be getting as much energy as possible out of her. Talking about her second bonus ability, whenever she uses her ult, she'll be healing all of your allies equal to 5% of her max HP plus 133. Now, this is going to obviously depend on her max HP. Obviously, all of her abilities scale off of her max HP, so you want to be building HP into her kit overall. But I will say one thing, the healing is not too high. It can kind of keep you topped off and kind of keep the rest of the team sustained. She does not get any of this healing. Just keep this in mind, guys. No healing goes to her from this ability, just to your team. Normally it's around 4 to 5 to 600 healing, normally 4 to 600 healing depending on how much HP you have on her. And then finally, her last bonus ability is going to be blocking a CC attempt on an ally. So say someone tries to freeze you or Kafka tries to dominate you, this is going to block one of those attempts. This can be reactivated every time you use your skill. Now, as far as the upgrade order for her abilities, I would recommend upgrading the skill and talent first, and then you can just wait to upgrade the ultimate and the basic attack after. The only thing that these two give you is a little bit more damage out of these. She doesn't really do too much damage overall, so obviously I would recommend getting the sustain aspect of her kit, which is her skill and her talent. And these sly little dogs at Mihoyo, they knew what they were doing. They put these crit rate bonuses in between getting your HP bonuses, so you have to spend more mats to get the HP bonus because her kit loves HP. Yeah, I know what you did there, Mihoyo. Good job. But now with her kit and everything out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about her best relic sets. Now, guys, my opinions have actually changed on her best relic set. We did the video the other day talking about her best relic sets, or what I thought to be her best relic sets in the pre-build guide. Today, I think it's a little bit different. I'm not going to really show like any of like the numbers here because the numbers don't really make sense. Like her DPS numbers really don't matter in these sets. The main thing that matters is her outgoing healing, which maybe goes up 100 to 200. What's better to kind of show is like the difference between her survivability between different sets, because that is one major issue she has, and that is surviving, especially against AoE attacks. If someone's doing a lot of AoE attacks, she does have some issues surviving there, or can have issues surviving if you're not precautious enough in preventing that. So, as far as sets that I would recommend running, I do like running a 2-piece Longevious Disciple. There's no 4-piece set that I would recommend running on her. I will say the 2-piece Longevious Disciple is really good because it increases her max HP, which makes her a little bit tankier in that aspect. Other things you could run is you could, of course, run a 2-piece Hackerspace set. That's what I'm running right now, just because I don't really have any good other sets right now. But alternatively, you could run 2-piece of the Weathering Guard here, which means she takes 8% less damage. And then on top of this, you could run a 2-piece Knights of the Purity Palace. It gives an extra 15% to your defense. I know a lot of people said that defense wouldn't be good on her, even though I was in that train of thinking defense wouldn't be that good on her. But defense actually does help her out quite a bit, which I'll show in a second when we talk about the main stats here. So hopping into what you actually need for the main stats, on the boots I would recommend speed. I don't see any use of using HP boots. You want her to go as fast as possible to be gaining that ultimate back up, so she keeps regaining nodes so she can keep self-healing herself, because I run into a lot of issues when I was testing where she wasn't going fast enough, meaning she wasn't getting enough energy to proc her ult off, which means she didn't have her talent nodes up to actually do a heal on herself at below 50% HP. So I do recommend running speed boots here. Talking about the body, I would just run an HP percent body piece here to give her as much HP as possible. Same thing goes for the sphere. An HP percent sphere here I think is going to serve you the best. And then finally, I would also recommend running energy regeneration rate on the chain. HP percent up here, I don't really think. I think you want to get her ultimate back up as quickly as possible, so you're healing the team more often and getting her nodes back up so she can also heal herself more too. Now, as far as your planner sets, you could either run Fleet of the Ageless or Broken Keel. This is pretty standard across any of your support / sustain characters kits. This is like one of the main things you would run. Of course, Fleet of the Ageless is going to give you that added benefit of getting more max HP, which makes her a bit tankier. But Broken Keel does give the whole team a crit damage buff. I don't think effect res is really too good on her, and the reason I say that is because sure, it prevents CC. I mean, her ability already prevents CC. The problem is if your teammates have dot on them, she also takes that dot damage as well. So even if you prevent a dot on herself, she's still taking dot from your other allies. So I mean, kind of copium there, but yeah, really nice with the crit damage bonus. Talking about some of the substats you want to be running on your Fu Xuan. Now, Fu Xuan substats are, I think, going to be pretty simple, and I think they're pretty easy to get, actually. I would focus on getting HP percent HP substats, defense percent defense substats, and also speed substats. And yes, I said defense, just bear with me here. We're going to talk more about that when we get into the Lightcones, because I have some comparisons to show you guys there with that. But with the Relic section out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about her Eidelons and how good they are. Now, her Eidelons are pretty cracked, not going to lie. Her E1, absolutely amazing. It gives 30% crit damage to your team, just passively. I mean, not really passive. You use a skill and you get it, basically. E2 is also really big as well. It's going to be if any team member struck with a killing blow, she revives that ally, basically like Bailu. She's Bailu at E2 essentially, without the healing, right? Without the big healing. E4 is also really big. She'll be getting extra energy back whenever her allies are attacked. And E6 is going to allow her to be a DPS Fu Xuan. She just does she does really big damage with this E6 ability. But let's be honest, that's pretty hard to obtain. I would say E1 is just really good if you can get it. Now, gamers, let's go ahead and talk about her Lightcones and what I recommend using for her Lightcone. Now, her signature Lightcone, I am not gonna lie, her signature Lightcone is pretty good for her. It's gonna be giving your Fu Xuan extra max HP. It's also gonna be giving her more energy regeneration rate, a damage buff to all your allies whenever she is attacked or whenever her HP is reduced, and also at the start of every wave is gonna be healing your allies by 80% of their HP, which is really big for the MOC, right? I do think this is really big for her overall. And it's really useful, honestly, but I do think there's something that is pretty comparable to this Lightcone, actually, and that's actually Gepard's Lightcone. Gepard's Lightcone, it surprised me. I did not think this Lightcone was going to work at all. I don't know why, I just thought the defense wouldn't work at all on her, but yeah, Moments of Victory absolutely popped off, worked out for her really well. The same can be said for Landau's Choice. Landau's Choice is basically going to have her targeted more, which means you can get more energy back because she's getting attacked more, and then on top of this, she'll also be reducing damage taken by a certain percentage. Mine's at E4 right now, so of course mine's a little bit higher than an S1 would be, but yeah, I like this a lot as well. Now, those comparisons I wanted to show you guys, I'll put 4 screenshots up on screen now and show you the damage numbers or what she took here. This is against an enemy that does AoE attacks with the Gepard Lightcone and an HP Orb. She took 358 and 698 damage. With HP Orb and Landau's Choice, she took 387 damage and 632 damage, so a little bit of an increase and a little bit of a decrease there. Could have been that the enemy crit us, not really too sure there. And then going as far even to swap that HP Orb over to a defense orb, you can see this here, it drops it drops a lot more, right? So the damage taken with Japar's Lightcone is 313 and 611, and then when we swap it over to Landau's Choice, it's going to be 285 and 556. So like I was saying, this can be more beneficial to run defense, right? You can see that there is a drop off in damage when we are running defense. Even with Landau's Choice, right? I think Landau's Choice, anything you can give to her that makes her reduce the amount of damage taken, or even give her more defense, I think is going to be really good for her. I think in most cases, it's even going to be better than giving her max HP. That's why I think that Moment of Victory and Landau's Choice are probably just as good as an option as She Already Shut Her Eyes. I think this one is a little bit better overall because, of course, it is doing a bit more because this is giving energy regeneration rate, healing all of your allies, and giving them a damage buff as well. I do think that these are comparable options and very free-to-play friendly options at that. Landau's Choice, no, I mean, Moment of Victory is not free-to-play friendly, but you get the point. Landau's Choice, you could also use Texture of Memories as well. That one's okay to use. I think it's okay on her. It works out pretty well, right? I think most of these light cones here can work really well on her. That's what I'm trying to say. I think most of these here are good, right? Anyways, that's going to be like the section on light cones here. Let's go ahead and talk about what team comp she can be running and everything like that. Now, as far as the team comps you want to run your Fu Xuan in, she can really fit in almost any team comp. I would try to avoid fights that does a lot of AoE damage, especially if you're looking to solo sustain with her. I would try to stick to enemies that do a lot of single target damage. That would be my recommendation on that. AoE just eats her alive and just destroys her health bar. I wouldn't recommend solo sustain in those situations, but if you do run a Lynx with a team or another healer with a team, I think it would be absolutely fine to run her in those situations, right? But overall, right, I tried Mono Quantum. It's okay. I'm going to make a video on that in a couple days. If you're interested in that, please subscribe to the channel so you can see my thoughts on the Mono Quantum team. I'm personally thinking about running on my Kafka team and replacing Bailu with Fu Xuan and just leaving Bailu on my other team with Dragon Danny so she can generate that extra skill point. That's probably what I'm going to do. Or, I mean, it could be vice versa. She could be used on that team as well. It's just that she is, I guess, not as skill point efficient as Bailu is. So that's why I'm doing that. But yeah, I do think she works in just about any team. Anyways, gamers, that's going to do it for today's little build guide on Fu Xuan. Tell me what you guys think. How are you enjoying Fu Xuan so far? Is she living up to all the hype? I honestly think she's a little bit overhyped. I think she's a really good unit, probably up there. I think she's pretty even with Japar, honestly, as far as defensive capabilities go. So that's my opinion and build guide on Fu Xuan. Like I said, let me know what you think in the comments below. And yep, that's going to do it for today's video. Please subscribe. I would really like it. I would really appreciate it. And I'm sure she would appreciate it too. You don't want to piss Fu Xuan off. I pissed Fu Xuan off. Look at her. She's looking down at you. Yeah, if I pissed Fu Xuan off and I didn't get her. Anyways, bye guys. See you later.